Welcome back, my friends, to Crowned, a Smell Baseball podcast. This is 1910. The dead ball still rules the game. The mound is high, the bats are thick, and the ball is scuffed and scorned like an old bar brawler. But beneath it all, behind the masks and the mustaches, the straw hats and spitballs, something is shifting. In the autumn of 1910, one dynasty gasps for breath, and another draws its first confident inhale. Chicago versus Philadelphia. The Cubs, once the kings of October, now leaning on the familiar weight of their double-play legends. And the Athletics, Connie Mack's cerebral sons, ready to rip the crown from their heads and never look back. This is not just a series. This is a transfer of power. Let's go inning by inning, game by game, man by man. The Chicago Cubs entered the 1910 World Series like aging war horses, returning to a battlefield they once owned. They had ruled this era, 1906, 1907, 1908. October was their month. The trio, Tinker to Evers to Chance, had become poetry. Frank Chance was not just the manager, he was the cornerstone. 116 wins in 1906, championships in 07 and 08. This was a club that had made a religion out of winning, with arms like Mordecai Three-Finger Brown and gloves that had learned how to turn bad hops into outs. But on the other side of the diamond stood something newer, hungrier, sharper. The Philadelphia Athletics were brilliant in the truest sense, thinkers, hitters, and winners in waiting. Managed by the tall, thin, gentleman genius Connie Mack, a man who didn't wear a uniform, didn't shout from the dugout, and didn't believe in coddling players or arguing with umpires. He was building an empire, and 1910 was the foundation stone. With second baseman Eddie Collins, swift and cerebral. With Frank Home Run Baker, whose bat would one day change the game. And with Danny Murphy, the underrated everyday machine. But the heartbeat was on the mound. Jack Coombs, 31 wins in the regular season. A whipcord lean right-hander with a burning arm and a mind that matched his manager's. And in this series, he didn't just pitch. He endured. He broke bones with silence. He outlasted storms. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. Game 2, Game 3, Game 5. Complete games, all of them. And each one chipped away at the Cubs' myth, inning by inning. In Game 2, Coombs saw his team erupt with a 9-run 7th inning that turned the tide of the series. But he was steady from pitch 1. He didn't just pitch with a lead, he earned it, sustained it, protected it. Then in Game 3, on short rest, he held firm. The Cubs rallied. Coombs held. They scraped. Coombs escaped, and the A's took a 3-0 series lead. And finally, in Game 5, he shut the door. Coombs hurled another complete game, securing the championship, a 7-2 win, a statement, 27 innings, 3 wins, and no complaints. Now let's talk about a man who stood taller than history would let him, Charles Bender. You may have heard him called Chief, but know this, he didn't choose that name. It was given by sports writers who refused to see him as a man first. He was educated, composed, a master of precision, of poise, of pitching under pressure. And in Game 1, it was Bender, not Coombs, who opened and delivered the first blow. A 4-1 win, 7 hits scattered, a curveball that bent like a whisper through autumn wind. This was Charles Bender's moment. Never forget, his name was Charles, and his numbers: World Series ERA 2.44 across 9 games, 6 complete games, and the respect of every batter who ever faced him. The Cubs won Game 4. They had to. It was Ed Rulebach's game, and they squeaked by 4-3. But it was a flicker, not a fire. Their lineup, once so potent, was now overmatched. Their defense, once airtight, cracked under the pressure. Their pitching, once immortal, looked mortal. Tinker, Evers, and Chance still turned two, but it wasn't enough. Frank Chance himself hit .235. Mordecai Brown never found his rhythm. This was not their series. This was their curtain call. And after 1910, the Cubs would wait 108 years to hoist another title. The Athletics, meanwhile, were only getting started. They would win again in 1911 and again in 1913. They'd return to this series in 1914 and again in the 1920s and 1930s. This was their moment. They became royalty. And Connie Mack, he managed for 50 years, 5-0. No one else comes close. He did it with intellect, with patience, with trust in men like Coombs and Collins and Bender. And it all started here in 1910. So what do we make of 1910? It's a page turn, a dawn. We saw the final stand of one of the greatest teams ever assembled, the Cubs of the early century. And we saw the rise of the Athletics, thinkers, fighters, winners. We saw Jack Coombs become a warhorse, Charles Bender become a hero, and Connie Mack become a legend. The smell of 1910, it's pine tar, cigar smoke, and change. And from here, baseball would never be the same. This has been crowned a Smell Baseball podcast, the series where the old kings fell and a new royalty rose. I'm Mr. Baseball, and I'll see you next time.